Hello, everybody, and thank you again for joining us today. With me, I have for episode number 6 of What's the Deal, a 10 and Cube podcast, Mathew Toussaint. Mathew, thank you for joining us.
No worries. It's a pleasure.
And Mathew and I have known each other for a little bit. Mathew is incredibly knowledgeable in the space and has been in real estate, just doing his thing, working hard, and always crushing it from what I can see on his social media feeds. So some of you may have already seen or heard of Math. But for those who haven't, Mathew, could you maybe tell us a little bit about your organization and your background?
Absolutely. So I am a realtor and I work from the Waterloo region. I also work all the way across the GTA up to Barrie as well, as I am the team lead of the TR group. What started that was I've always wanted to get into real estate. I've actually owned property since I was 19 years old. It was my first property that I purchased was in Manitoba, crazy town, Winnipeg. And I actually just recently sold it this year. So that was it was a bittersweet moment, being the first piece. But it's what started us all, and it allowed me to purchase and grow through COVID, more doors on my belt. So yeah.
That's awesome. And so, before you were a realtor, you were already owning property. What really just made you want to actually go ahead and go down that path? Because it's certainly a fruitful one, but also a challenging one.
Yes. When I first thought of real estate, I thought, oh, it's going to be easy. You just open doors and you go to show somebody a house. It is not far from that. It is actually, no, it's very far from that. It's quite challenging at some days where you have to get up, do some prospecting to create deals, to create buzz. So if you don't have the opportunity to be your administrator, your marketing manager, your prospecting, ISA, VA, etc., you are that. So at the beginning, I was in hospitality where I was, my last Canadian job, I was managing a hotel downtown Toronto in the banquet side. And then I kind of quit that job right before COVID and moved over to the Bahamas. I was running 5 restaurants. Well, that didn't last long because COVID thought, hey, we're going to throw a little curveball. And they closed down the whole island. So what happened there was if you were not a resident or living there, you had to leave. So what happened? I moved back, no job to go to, had that whole fight with the government with CERB. So then I had to move back to my home in Cambridge, defaulting on, deferring, not defaulting. I didn't default on any mortgages, I promise. So I deferred all my mortgages, my bills as much as possible, and started doing things from power washing people's homes to like cutting grass, making coasters, just anything to do to get money. I was eating in food bank because I couldn't afford anything. And I've been blessed, honestly. The food bank in Cambridge, in downtown Galt, I give it to them. I give them tons of donations all the time, especially this time of year, which it doesn't matter what time of year it is realistically because everybody's always in need. But things like reusable bags, I know it sounds crazy, but when you go into a food bank, and this is how you know it's that person went to a food bank, you go there, they give you only plastic bags, and these bags have all been donated. And they're more or less been used already, so they rip. Really simple. So I was walking home one time, and I saw somebody's bag just all over the ground. So I was like, you know what? I donated 150 reusable bags so that every person that came in would get one bag. That would allow them to be a little more structured. So yeah, from that, I grew into my real estate side. I did my course in 4.5 months because I was like, I need money to pay bills. So did that. I grew my my team up. We had 11 agents, and then I've been moving it down a little bit, kind of taking a different turn. And now this year we've done tens of millions in sales, which is crazy to think. And I I helped purchase my mom's car. I bought a property so that my mom and grandparents can move into it. It's been complete life changing. I definitely, if you're looking at joining a real estate brokerage, give me a holler. Or if you're looking to become a realtor, give me a holler because I can definitely help you out.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and I think maybe that's the reason, or part of the reason why you've had such success is even in that short amount of time, if you didn't already have it, which it sounds like you did, you definitely would have had to develop that hustler's mindset during that trial by fire early on, and even before that with some of those tougher stages. So I'm sure that's super helpful. And kind of speaking back to that time. That was a pretty wild time for real estate during COVID, wasn't it?
It was nuts, honestly. I had some people giving me calls saying, "Hey there, please just put an offer on this property." I'm like, "Who are you? How'd you get my phone number? Is this a scam?" No, it's not a scam. I had to do my FinTrack with them, which means I'm checking their driver's license. We have a program with our brokerage that allows them to just go ahead and do it all remotely. And I would have to do that, get all the paperwork ready to go, and go nuts. We wouldn't see the property. We would have zero conditions on properties. To now, properties are sitting. Some are expiring, and it's been a complete flip. So this year, they say it's probably the year that you'll see a lot of realtors go, "Whoa, this is not for me." Or it's, "Whoa, this is not easy." That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. So speaking on that, I mean, I think that's something we here at Tenant Cube we see with landlords all the time, and I guess you're seeing it or hearing it from others in the real estate space too. Obviously, you just alluded to even yourself. Is it's not passive at all, right? So anything to do with investment or real estate isn't. And in today's environment where things have changed, could you maybe expand a little bit more on some of those changes and what's looking different now, maybe than last year? I know you said things are sitting longer. What are some of the things maybe somebody who already has a property and is looking to do like you did, maybe expand the portfolio, renting it to family, friends, other people? What can people do right now, and what are some things to look for?
Yeah, I think it depends on what your outcome is. Are
Hmm.
you looking to buy the property and flip it? Probably not a good idea right now.
Hmm.
Putting a bunch of capital into a renovation. Or if you're going to buy the property, flip it, hold it, which we consider that almost a BRRRR strategy, which is called buy, renovate, rent out, refinance. That refinance portion is questionable right now because of our high interest rates. Where a year and a half ago, I was selling properties and my buyers were getting 0.99%. Now we're at 5% or more. It's a complete different scenario. Is that challenging? I would say everything's a little challenging at the moment, but do I think it's a bad time to buy? Not really, because you don't have to be locked into a fixed term. You don't have to be even locked in with your variable. Working with a professional mortgage broker that has their best interests for you, they're going to be the ones to be able to help you through that process and find out what the proper procedure is for you. Because maybe it's just, let's get a fixed term for 1 year, and then we refinance it in that 1 year, hoping that the market changes a little bit, or maybe do a 2 year. But yeah, definitely I would consider reaching out to a professional mortgage agent on those terms.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. And then, one thing I've had people ask right now, is especially people who are maybe closer to those types you were alluding to, where they would be looking at flipping a property, getting rid of it quickly. It seems like some of them are starting to consider now holding them on longer or buying with the purpose of renting in mind. Is that something you're seeing more of as well?
Big time. Like if it's a really rundown property or possibly even estate sales where somebody has passed and they haven't been able to over the last couple of years been able to maintain the property, those properties are kind of very valuable right now, because if you whatever you put into it, you're going to get it back immediately, and then depending on how the market goes in the next couple years, if you're looking to refinance it in 4 or 5 years, you never know where we're going to be sitting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, on that side of things, where things are going to be looking in a couple of years is hard to tell for sure.
Yep.
But, with maybe 2023 in mind, do you have any thoughts on, do you think we'll continue into a downturn? Do you think things may look up? What are your some of thoughts on, with us being so close to the end of 2022, without a crystal ball in front of you, what do you think 2023 is looking like?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that it's going to be a couple waves. You'll see some weird emotions coming out as well from both sides of the fence. I do think that the market, like, we're not at a lot of people are saying we're at our end. I'm like, guys, it's November 30th. We're not at our end. We're literally just starting the wave, like, and we're hitting it. Look in the stock market. You see them going up and down, up and down, up and down. That's normal. We're going to just ride that along, follow it. And what I've been telling everybody at the beginning, buyers, just get ready. Get ready. Let's get you pre-approved. Let's get you ready to purchase, because it's going to go up, but it will come down, and then it'll go up again. So when it comes down, be ready. Let's get on board. Give me a call. And let's get in those homes that we need to purchase for you.
Absolutely. And with respect to that, I know everybody's gonna be different, but for, let's say, somebody, tenant cube, a lot of times we're dealing with investors, we're dealing with people who are growing their portfolio. Any advice that you may have for somebody who's looking to expand at this point, maybe beyond their first? I know you work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and if you're not a homeowner yet, you definitely want to talk to Matt. But what about for people who are maybe looking to expand during more turbulent times?
Yeah, I would say go for it. Even with the people that are renting right now, I've been saying this as well to them. I said, well, whose mortgage are you paying? And I pause. And then they're like, oh, we're paying other people's mortgage. A lot of the time, people don't put into process, well, the media is telling me to buy or not to buy, and I'm not going to buy, but I'm going to rent. But right now, we're at a really high rental rate. For the people that are wanting to expand their portfolio, I would say, get ready. It is a time. Like, I had a property, I sold one yesterday. I have another offer day today. And then also I sold one in 5 days. So there is a bidding war. I had 3 offers on a property just yesterday. So this is happening. We are in multiple offers. I had a colleague at my brokerage that had 47 on his one offer on his property, which is, you don't see that on the news. So just listen to the people that are actually working. There's a lot of colleagues and other realtors out there that don't trade, and they show up on camera and they think that they know what's happening. But no, these are what's actually happening. People are still buying. Don't be scared, and just follow suit. Work with a professional and go from there.
Yeah, and that's another great point. Something you brought up a couple of minutes ago was you said, rent is remaining high. So despite some of the turbulence in the housing prices, why do you think rent is remaining high, and could it remain strong throughout 2023?
Well, if you look at what happens with our economy, you have everybody for all the last year, I guess, paying a lot. They're going, probably a lot of them going variable rate because it was so low. Then on top of that, groceries start peaking,
Mm-hmm.
meaning everything else is starting to go up a little higher. So then those mortgages are starting to go higher. So now landlords can't afford to take it. So they're going to say, hey, to the tenants, please, you have to now pay. So it's really top down. Everybody's having to pay more. It's a really troublesome time. For example, I had a condo in Kitchener where somebody came in and they're like, here's a year up front and $750 credit score. They had everything in line. It was perfect, but they got outbid, which is crazy to even think, with another person a year up front with a higher rental rate. I'm like, it was $400 more than we were looking for per month. So if you think about the seller's market that we just went through, it's now a landlord's market. So if you're looking to invest, do it. Buy, invest, and go into the rental game.
That's actually really interesting that you would call it a landlord's market. I think that makes a lot of sense. I was actually just going to ask you if you think maybe now is a bit of a buyer's market. So you stole the words right out of my mouth. With respect to you, you had mentioned that you were originally with your first property in Manitoba. Have you now grown into Ontario, where you do a lot of your sales out of now as well?
Oh yeah, I was only in Manitoba for about a year. That's when I lived there, and I was 19, young, really excited to get into the market, and I bought a little bungalow. No, it's a 1.5 story. Bought that for 175 about 11 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
it was good. It allowed me to show that I had equity to build up, buy another property in Cambridge, then again and again and again. So yeah, that's why when I've always been in Ontario, I've grown up in Oakville, Burlington. So the Halton regions where I grew my whole life. I was in college. I actually was a chef back in the day. So a lot of people know me from the hospitality industry. And I went from back of house all the way to the front of house, managing banquet centers, Bingham Inns in Waterloo region. Lots of fun times.
Absolutely. And, Matt, we definitely want to be respectful of your time and thank you, but I just got a couple more for you. So the first one is, you've had the experience as a landlord, and you said, on the realtor side that, you definitely found that it wasn't passive income like everybody thought it was going to be. What do you think some of the things you've learned from being a landlord, and maybe even some of the spillover from your time as a realtor too? Like, what advice do you have for people who are new to this and maybe thought that being a landlord they thought was going to be passive? What are some of your takeaways and some of your learnings over the last decade?
Yeah, I would definitely say plan 3 times. Plan it, plan it, plan it, and then
Right.
act. Because when you're really excited, you will sometimes make mistakes. For example, the house in Manitoba, my realtor at that time was not doing her proper duty of care. Now that I understand what proper duty of care is as a realtor, I realize that that person who sold the house to them originally did not put it back on the market, but sold it to them for about $60,000, which is crazy to even think. A $60,000 home, then sold it to me for $175,000 in only 8 months, knowing that I was young. She took advantage of that. Now that I know that I could actually go back to, which I don't know what Manitoba's is called, but ours is RICO. We can go and do a complaint through that process. But so if I was planning and I took my steps, working with professionals, that probably wouldn't have happened. However, everything does happen for a reason, and it's allowed me to gain the experience, gain the trust. I've had great tenants, some bad tenants, through the process. Definitely plan your steps. And if you don't know how or what to do, give me a call.
Well, and speaking of that, this will be the final one. For some of our listeners, whether you're growing your portfolio or maybe you're a first-time home buyer, trying to learn how to build that passive income everybody talks about, which we're learning through more and more of these conversations with guys like Matt, that's not always passive. Matt, how can people best reach you? How can they best find you?
Absolutely. So you can go on my website, which is TR as in top realtor group.ca, or give me a call at 289-983-0990. Or just search my name, Mathew, spelled with one T. My last name is spelled to us and Saint, altogether Toussaint. You'll find me. Or there's even, we went viral on one of our properties. If you look up Not Haunted in Toronto, you'll see our ads where we went all the way to Australia, that I was having interviews, which was crazy to think.
Yeah, I caught that one. The not haunted house ad was a great idea, and another reason why you'd want to use somebody like Matt. So, Matt, thank you so much for your time, your thoughts, your feedback. We appreciate it. I know you always bring a lot of value to everybody you speak with, so you've brought us a lot of value today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to do it again.
Thank you, Darren. Take care.